Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Cardano's price chart, and I'm going to try to at least explain why I think we are going to see a move up soon, not only in Cardano but probably in a lot of altcoins and also very much in BTC. So are you ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And in my view, Cardano actually has one of the more easier to see setups, because when we got this move on the downside, this liquidation event, this actually happened way too fast, and as a result of it, right around here, which at the same time is a resistance area between 84 to about 88.5 cents, we created a very important gap. And more important than that, the gap is actually from daily time frame. So why do I care about it? Because number one, gaps from daily time frame by themselves do have a lot of validity, and number two, in my view, gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So here is what I have to say. In my view, in Cardano, after our move down is over, or maybe it's over already, we are going to get into that in a minute. I think we are going to get a relatively strong move on the upside. And basically, I still believe that we are going to have some sort of a V-shaped recovery phase in order to at least get to here and fill this gap. And well, this is going to be, let's just measure it from here to about this height, like a very easy 40% gain. That's why I think Cardano again does have one of the more easier to see setups. Now, in terms of what is going on in like very short, let's go on 15-minute time frame. Okay, so if you remember the last time that we talked about ADA, we were right around these areas, and the idea was that maybe we're gonna have a 1-2 setup. Like this can be a 1-2 followed by another 1 and a 2, and then we get a good move up into wave 3, 4, 5, and that, I think it is now very much safe to say, did not play out. But does this mean right now we should be overwhelmingly bearish? I don't think so. At least let me just say this, maybe not yet. You see, in Cardano, or actually for that matter in any other charts from any market, if you want to be optimistic, okay, you have to be able to find off of the recent lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. This specific case is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave or wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And in terms of the sub waves, you know it if you are a regular viewer of the channel, we must have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3 and 5, and for wave 2 and 4 we can have different scenarios. Let's say, yeah, okay, ABC into 4 and maybe a WXY into wave 2. Now let's go on the live chart, and first things first, let's talk about a possibility suggesting, yeah, this is probably it, the low of our whole move down. And why do I want to argue that? Because I think off of the lowest low in here, we are able to find maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside, and we literally have all the right subways for it. Now, if this scenario is in, then okay, number one, this suggests most likely we have hit our final bottom. Number two, this scenario is telling you that the current move down in ADA that we are having is actually in form of a correction structure, and we can consider different patterns for it. For example, here is one possibility, maybe this to about here is an A correction for wave B and another move on the downside into our ceiling. Now, again, this scenario suggests the bottom is in, and if this is truly in play, then okay, we want to see something like this, and then a rather sharp bounce, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in order to take this important high. If we do this, great sign. At that point, we can be bullish even in like very short term with a lot more confidence. Now, can we have other possibilities? The answer is yes. And here is one more likely scenario, which suggests we are actually going to get maybe like another small continuation of the move down in order to take the loss. But here's the situation. Both of these scenarios do actually end up with the same conclusion, meaning we are very much close to the final low in Cardano, and soon we can expect a good move on the upside. Now, this can suggest that maybe, fair enough, this is a 5 wave up, but on a higher degree, it might be into maybe, I don't know, the C leg of an ABC flat. And here is, you can argue that maybe from this point, we're going to have ABC up into A, B, C down into wave B, and a 5 wave up into C. And this can suggest we are having a 1, 2, strong move down into wave 3 correction for another move down into wave 5 in order to take this low, but then hopefully we are going to have a bounce back. Now, why do I believe one way or the other? We are quite close to the final low in Cardano, and for that matter in a lot of other altcoins, for two very important reasons. Number one, well, believe it or not, time analysis does suggest that this, and I would say probably the next week, is actually going to be a bit of a bullish one for us. Point number two, Bitcoin's chart, in my view, does look quite optimistic, and I do believe in BTC as well. We are quite close to our final low, and we are going to get a good bounce soon. So if in Bitcoin we're going to go up, what do you think is going to happen to alts? I'm going to say in the majority of them, we are also going to see some good moves on the upside, and I don't really think that Cardano is going to be an exception. And every analyst at any given moment should be able to come up with a bullish and a bearish count at the same time, right? Well, so far we talked about two scenarios that overall are actually quite bullish. I mean, sure, one count does suggest maybe we're going to have like another 10% move down, but even that one says after that small move, we are going to get a good bounce. So I'm going to say even that scenario is quite bullish. Now, what about like a completely bearish count? That one suggests that maybe in Cardano, let's go on H1 time frame. There we go. That scenario suggests in Cardano, we are having from the highs maybe to about this point a wave 1 correction for wave 2, and this is going to be like a 1 2 3 4 5 wave down into wave 3 correction for 4, another move down into wave 5. In other words, this count does actually suggest we might be quite a long way away in ADA to reach to our final low. The question is, how can we say whether this or maybe the previous counts are going to be in play? I actually believe you are having a very, very clear sign, and that comes down to indicators. Let's go on H4 time. By the way, let's actually go on weekly chart and check out the overall indicators and see what is going on in them. Okay. As you can see, now, unfortunately, in MACD and stock RSI at the same time, we are having sell signals, which is really not ideal. And if you do not care about the short-term price action, I would like to suggest just be patient and wait and see buy signals in these two indicators at the same time, because that is going to be probably a fantastic sign indicating the bottom is in. At that point, you can be bullish with like much more confidence. But for now, yep, probably not yet. Okay, in daily time frame though, the story might be a bit different, because in a stock RSI, we do have a buy signal, but in MACD, this sell signal is still remaining. Now, here's the situation. If you want to be a bit optimistic, again, I think you have to be just a little bit more patient and see buy signal in here. However, I think there's actually a chance that before we see a buy signal, we may see like one more small move on the downside and then a good bounce. And here is the deal. And the real reason for why I want to see maybe another small move down, but I'm really hoping that will be just it, a very small and short move on the downside. So what do you have on the live chart? This is a low. The other one is a lower low. By the way, I forgot to tell you, this chart is actually from Coinbase, which in it we do not have the insane shadows that we got in this massive liquidation event. And I do think this is actually like a more realistic chart, and I don't believe that in Cardano we are going to see like a 50% move down in order to fill those gaps that were created as a result of those insane bounce backs in some other charts happening way too fast. I don't really believe in Cardano we are going to go to somewhere around maybe 30 cents or maybe even 20. That is really unrealistic, and in my view this is a much better chart to consider. Now again, this is a low, the other one is a lower low, but pay attention to what is happening in MACD. You see, we are having a low and the other one is a higher low, and between the lows, we almost, I'm gonna say, reach to about the neutral level. Why is this so important? Because, my friends, this actually suggests in ADA, we are having a beautiful looking bullish divergence. Now, the main question was this: how can we say whether we are quite close in Cardano to reach to our final low, or maybe we are going to have some more strong downward price action? Here is how. You see, a bullish divergence by itself is a fantastic sign suggesting bears are indeed running out of power. However, the moment that we get a move down and we get in MACD a break of the divergence line, that would be like a really, really dangerous sign, suggesting, you know what, maybe our move down is going to continue for quite some time. And unfortunately, that bearish count that I showed you is in play. But as long as we are not getting a break of the line, I think we should remain optimistic in Cardano and either count on a good bounce starting from the current point or maybe just a bit lower, and then we are going to do something like this. Bottom line is, I think this week probably and hopefully even the next one is going to be quite bullish for BTC and hopefully a lot of altcoins, and I do believe on some decent bounce backs. So as long as we are not proven otherwise, let's go with this count. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Cardano. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.